Dear friends, there is a delightful story about a 9-year-old farm boy who was terribly afraid of the dark. One night, his father told him to go out to the barn and feed their horses. The boy began to tremble with fear. Then his father stepped out with the boy, lit a lantern, and asked his son, "How far can you see?" The boy said, "I can see halfway to the barn." The father said, "Carry this lantern halfway to the barn." When the boy reached halfway point, his father called out, "How far can you see now?" The boy shouted back, "I can see the barn door." So his father called out, "Walk to the barn door and tell me what you see." The boy shouted back, "I can see the horses." His dad smiled and said, "Good, now feed them." That night, the boy lost his fear of the dark. Moreover, he also learned a big lesson. He took a giant step in his life that some things in life cannot be done all at once. That story is a beautiful illustration of what happens in today's gospel. The main point of the gospel is not the physical healing of the blind man, nor is it the miracle for him to see Jesus for the first time. Rather, it is the spiritual healing of the blind man. It is a miracle that made it possible for him to look at Jesus and believe in him for the first time. The first thing we notice about this miracle is that it doesn't take place all at once. It takes place gradually, in fact, in 3 steps. The blind man's first response to Jesus after being healed is to regard Jesus just as another man. That's why when the people, his friends and neighbors, asked him about his cure, he said, "The man called Jesus anointed my eyes, and I was able to see." Here, the blind man's first impression was that Jesus was just another man like himself, of course, a remarkable man. His second perception of Jesus comes when the Pharisees asked him, "What do you say about Jesus since he opened your eyes?" The blind man replies, without any hesitation, "He is a prophet." The more the blind man thinks about what Jesus had done for him, the more convinced he becomes that Jesus is not just another man like other people, he is a prophet. The man's final perception of Jesus comes later that day when Jesus meets him again. Jesus looks straight into his eyes and asks, "Do you believe in the Son of Man?" And he replies, "Who is he, sir, so that I may believe in him?" And Jesus responds very calmly, "You have seen him, and the one speaking with you is he." The man believes in him, immediately falls on his knees and worships the Lord. At the final stage, the man perceives Jesus to be more than a man or a prophet. Rather, he acknowledges Jesus as the Lord, the Son of Man. And so, in retrospect, we can see that the blind man's faith takes place gradually, step by step. The man moves from physical side to the inside and then to faith. In contrast, the Pharisees were born with a perfect vision but refused to believe in Jesus. They were spiritually blind, not because of any ignorance, but because of their refusal to see the divine truth in the Lord. Like the Pharisees, we can be blind too because of our pride, our prejudices against others. The blind man accepts Jesus as the promised Messiah, whereas the Pharisees, who have been waiting for the Messiah, reject him. Dear friends, like that blind man, we too were called by Jesus to wash, not in the waters of Siloam, but in the waters of baptism. Like the blind man, after we washed in the waters of baptism, we saw Jesus for the first time through the eyes of our faith. And like him, our friendship with the Lord began to grow that day through his word and through various sacraments. Our friendship with Jesus is an ongoing journey. It is something that never ends, but it must continue throughout our life. Lent is a time when Jesus reminds us that our friendship is a journey. It is not a destination we have arrived at. Lent is a time when Jesus invites each one of us to deepen our friendship day by day. And at the end of our days, we could examine our life and we could say, like that blind man, I do believe in the Lord. Today, let's pray that the Lord may help us to overcome our blindness, the blindness that prevents us from seeing what is good and true in life.